it, people? Welcome to my annual roundup of the year gone by. Today, we are analyzing the year 2023. If you're new to my channel, firstly, hi. Secondly, I do this thing on my channel where I do a roundup of the year that has passed, like this one and this one, just because I usually come out of the year with a whole bunch of fun lessons which definitely need to be shared. I mean, they don't need to be shared, but I want to share them just because it adds so much value to my life. Seriously, I'm not being sarcastic or funny about this. It adds so much value to my life that I would honestly just feel selfish if I did not share with you what I've learned, so that you can also learn. See how nice I am. I also just want to say, if this is not your kind of video, I totally understand. This is going to be like 20 minutes of me just talking about very lovely growth things. So if this is not your video, I totally understand. You can come back next week for another episode of The Farm. No hard feelings. So let's just get straight to the title and what I mean by that. So genuinely, 2023 was the best year of my life. I use inverted commas there because what even is the meaning of best, right? How do you measure best? Usually when someone talks about the best year of their life, they are gonna probably think about all the adventures that they went on, or maybe achievements or promotions or milestones, finding love even. So like physical things, that's what I mean. You know, then people look back and think, wow, what a year. But actually for me, nothing really happened. I mean, absolutely, there were a few milestones. I mean, in the first week of 2023, I bought a car. That's a pretty big milestone, which was obviously an incredible moment. I'm sure you remember what it was like buying your first car. But to me, it was a much bigger accomplishment. It was more symbolic anyway, because I was so scared of driving. I had a genuine fear of driving. So yeah, it wasn't actually about the car. It was more like what the car meant. And that is, you know, me finally conquering that fear. You still won't catch me parallel parking though. I'm telling you, I said this once, I'll say it again. If my husband is dying, I'll take him to the hospital, no problem. But if there's only one parking at that hospital and it requires parallel parking, shame, hey? It was nice knowing you anyway. The second achievement, I guess, is I joined the gym. But that wasn't the achievement though. The achievement was that I never quit. Like, it sounds stupid to you, but this was major for me because I had the biggest fear of exercising in front of people. I was just too embarrassed. I always thought that people were staring at me and judging me, just being the little Judge Judys that they are. I soon learned though that actually no one gives a shit. No one's looking at me. Everyone is focusing on themselves, and soon I got over it. I got over that fear and I did it. And I'm still doing it 5 days a week. Who even am I? Watching my body change was thrilling to me. I know that sounds quite arrogant, but it was thrilling to me because I mean, an ironing board had more shape than I did, you know. My body now has more dimension to it. And interestingly, and more importantly, I feel like my life has more dimension. That's so cheesy, I know. Really, I feel like gym has given my life more dimension. It just like helped me shift my mindset completely. I think it gave me like the sense of accomplishment. I actually started believing that I could do anything that I set my mind to, and like that, it made me so much more positive. And then of course, towards the end of the year, I had my very first brand collab with, you know, just a tiny company called Netflix. I don't know if you've heard of them, they're so tiny. But that was obviously just an amazing end to my year. sorry. Monetary things aside, what I loved most about my collab with Netflix is that they specifically asked me to remain as authentic as possible. And I just loved that I didn't need to pretend to be anything else for that vlog on the Kandasamis. And I also just had so much fun at the event. It was my very first time doing anything like that, and just it felt so natural to me, to be very honest, and I felt so at home doing that. And of course I just love the fact that I got to represent my my fellow South African Indian brethren at an event that highlighted South African Indians. It was just such an honor for me. But yeah, as you can see, like, not too many milestones happened for me in 2023. I think when I say that this was the best year of my life, I'm talking more internally. 2023 was the very first time that I've actually felt fulfilled. I felt so good, so balanced. I know a lot of this video is going to be very cheesy, but just bear with me. You can't see a glow around me, but like, I can feel it. I can feel there's a glow. I can feel me glowing from the inside. So looking back, I was trying to figure out what was different, and why was I suddenly feeling like this, like so content, so balanced, when actually not too much has happened in my life. And you know what? I came to a mind-blowing conclusion. This is going to sound so stupid to you, but I don't care, just listen. I realized that I had been living my entire life up until 33. I am now 34. I've been living my entire life up until 33 completely asleep. It was as if I was living like unconsciously. Like I was just alive for the sake of being alive. Like I didn't even know I was living life. Do you know what I'm saying? I've just said the same thing in so many different ways that if you still don't know what I'm saying, then I really don't know how to help you. But basically what that means is I was living life with no intention. And so it was completely meaningless to me and it had no value. Anyway, so I was living life like this, half asleep until about 33. And that's when the universe was like, nah, bruh. It's time for this idiot to wake up. I'd say 32 was the year when I was just about starting to wake up. Like the ground under my feet was like slightly trembling, but so subtly, you know, just enough to make you look twice. Like, what? Was I the only one who felt that? 33 was the year when the ground just like finally caved in. Just every lesson that I clearly needed to learn thrown at me. And well, and it wasn't just thrown at me, but it broke me into a million pieces. You know, when I say lessons were thrown at me, I'm talking about lessons of self-worth. Essentially, I was an incredibly depressed person. I had no respect for myself. I had respect for everyone else. I respected everyone else's boundaries, but didn't know how to respect my own boundaries. No. And so I didn't love myself at all. You know, I would go as far as saying I loathed myself. And because I was treating myself so terribly, I was essentially allowing others to treat me terribly. At that time, I couldn't understand why my life was like spiraling out of control and why the universe hated me and why others hated me. But you know, it's because I hated me. And now, you know, I realize that we have to hit rock bottom sometimes to have some sort of rebirth. And then of course, when you hit rock bottom, well, there's only one way to go from there, and that's up. So yeah, at the close of 33, I realized that these lessons were for me to wake up, finally. Not only that though, but to also just start taking note of life happening around me. Then 34 came along. That's this year now. Keep up with the timeline. 34 was the year of not only learning from those lessons, but actively making an effort to execute what I learned. Gosh, and that was hard. And what that consequently led to was this. Now, at the close of 34, I have become completely aware of myself. And not just aware of myself, but the relationship I have with myself and with others. I am conscious in every moment. I know I'm sounding like a loony bin, but I'm being dead serious. Like I'm now conscious in every moment, and I'm now seeking or appreciating the value of those moments, and that's good and bad. Of course now my mother will vacuum. Of course. It is insane that it took me that long to start living consciously. But hey, we all wake up at different times. Just, you know, some of us take longer than others. I've already been ranting for a long time. If you've made it this far in the video, please comment with the word comment. Comment with the word comment. I want to see who made it this far so far. Having said all of this, I want you to know, and this is probably the most important part of the video. I hope you're listening.
Listen properly.
I want you to know that this year was actually incredibly sad. Honestly, one of the saddest years of my life. I just experienced so much pain. Like, you know when your heart is just heavy, like you can feel it hanging. It's like cloud that is just hanging with the rain, and it's going to explode anytime. That's how I felt. Like my heart was just hanging with sadness and it's going to explode anytime. So please don't think that, you know, Sandhira only had happy moments this year and that's why it was one of the happiest years of her life. No, I shed a lot of tears this year. I had to walk away from people and it hurt. I watched people walk away from me and it hurt. I felt so abandoned and just so disappointed and let down. And then of course I had like other little personal goals which I didn't achieve, and that also made me really sad. You know, I worked hard towards those goals and, you know, I didn't achieve them when I wanted to achieve them. And yet, this was the most fulfilling year of my life. Why? Well, it's exactly the point I've been trying to make. Because I am now taking away the value of every moment, good and bad. I've learned to not just accept, but to embrace even the sad moments too, because those moments are the most important actually, and they often come with the most important lessons to learn. And I realize that those lessons are creating meaning for me. They're creating value because they're, you know, a catalyst for my growth. They're creating meaning for me. They're creating value for me. So unlike in the past when I felt like I was losing when something sad happened to me, now I feel like I'm growing and progressing. That's the definition of success to me. It's that growth. I realized that a lot of you noted the difference in me without me even saying anything. I started getting comments on my videos. I even started getting DMs noting my my positivity, and some said I was glowing and I was looking happier. Of course, I had 1-2 aunties asking me if I found a boyfriend, because of course only a boy can make you happy. No, Auntie Sylvie, I didn't find a boyfriend. I found myself. That's the truth though. No, I found myself. Speaking of, you know, I think 34 was the year that I really thrived in my solitude. And you know that I usually enjoy my own company a bit too much. I think I enjoy my company way more than I enjoy the company of others, for sure. But I never really used that time to get to know me better. I never ever used my solitude productively, and that's where I was going wrong. That makes me so damn upset because I spent 10 years in Korea, but I never really used that time to like focus on my solitude. I mean, how's that for irony? I was alone in Asia for 10 years, but I never really took note of my solitude because I was living so unconsciously. I was just enjoying my life on a surface level. Like, I was just so happy. I'm going to be very honest with you. I was just so happy earning money, traveling, buying whatever the heck I wanted without looking at a price tag. I was just enjoying Korea on a surface level, and I never really took in the value of every moment that I live there. That's what happens when you don't live consciously, for goodness sake. But this year, I just really pounced on my solitude. I used it to help understand me better, my needs, my values, what I stand for and what I don't stand for. And during that process of getting to know myself, I didn't even realize it, but I was healing myself. But of course, you know, you never fully heal. You never ever fully heal. Up until the day you enter your grave or the day that you get cremated, you never fully heal. No one's ever fully healed. You're constantly healing because you're constantly learning and growing and so healing. But I just feel like I have come such a long way. So much so, in fact, that now when I look back on past me, I'm just like, how the heck did I make it this far? Speaking of making it this far, if you made it this far, please comment with the word ant. I just saw an ant. So please comment with the word ant if you've made it this far. Yeah, so I feel like I have healed so much and I've come so far that I've now reached a stage where I know myself better than ever. I totally understand my values, what I stand for, what I don't stand for, who makes me feel like crap and who makes me feel like gold. My self-worth cannot be touched. I feel like I've reached a stage where I have done so much work on my self-worth that it cannot be touched now. I am so strong now that I can let people walk away from me. It's not breaking me at all. In the past, me walking away from someone who was hurting me made me feel like I was a terrible person. Can you even imagine? I cannot even begin to explain how liberating and empowering this feeling is. That's how I know that I've just become so much more whole, because not only can I feel it, but I see it in action when I experience some sort of sadness. Like when I lose people or if someone disrespects me, it no longer takes a toll on the perception that I have of myself like it did before. In the past, if someone was horrible to me, finished for me. But no more. Like that's so ridiculous. Like I'm way too pretty, I'm way too funny, I'm way too smart for this shit, really. So listen, the point that I am dismally trying to make in this video is I want you to promise me one thing, and that is you will make productive use of your solitude. You do not have to start immediately. Start when you are ready. But when you do, you're going to make productive use of your solitude, because that is the answer to everything. Literally spend time with yourself. Go out into the world, into nature. Go and enjoy nature. Go and sit in the grass. Go and sit on the beach. Go and read a book somewhere. Go to a cafe and sit by yourself. Go and enjoy your time by yourself, but don't just enjoy it, use it. Automatically, you will just start learning about yourself like that. Obviously, spending time with others is a good thing, but when you are spending time with others, you are focusing on them. It doesn't allow you to focus on yourself. You're only attending to them. So take your solitude and use it. It is not a bad thing. People need to stop thinking that solitude is loneliness. It is the total opposite of loneliness. Go and thrive. I like saying thrive like that. Go and thrive in your solitude. Seriously. This is the irony about the whole thing. We live in a society where we're all just so obsessed with ourselves. All we're doing now is posing, taking selfies. We are so in love with ourselves, and yet we know nothing about ourselves. How's that for irony? When you've spent that time with yourself and you've learned everything that there is to learn about yourself, well, as much as you can anyway, because learning is an ongoing process, you gain clarity. You know exactly what you stand for, what you're working towards, and therefore when to walk away from people or situations that are not taking you in the direction that you need to go. It's so simple when you think about it, and life will look so different suddenly because you're doing what works for you. You're doing things with intention, and you're taking the value of all the things that are happening, good and bad. So like that, things are bound to go right. Don't ever tell me that I didn't ever give you good advice. You hear me? Okay, well, that's where I wrap up today. I hope you took away something. Just one thing, just anything from this video. You know, I always say this, but like, even if I help one person, then I've done my job. Yay for me. Please let me know how 2023 went for you. You know, this year I laughed, I cried, I laughed with my friends, I cried with my friends. I worked furiously. I achieved some goals and I didn't achieve other goals. I bought a car, I chilled with Netflix, I networked with people in my industry, I squatted a lot, I ate a lot. I got lost on some mountains, I almost fell to my death on another mountain. I spent a lot of quality time with my gran. I spent a lot of quality time with myself. And most importantly, I grew. Yeah, that's 2023 in a nutshell for me. So let me know how it was for you. I hope you're having the most wonderful last month of 2023 and I wish nothing but the best for you. Well, most of you. Some of you haters can go to hell. And I'll see you in a new episode of The Farm. Goodbye.